People keep telling me this is much anticipated. I hope I don't let too many people down. Couple things. I learned something today. Jeff Hamilton talked about one of his core drivers. Fast and close versus slow and perfect. I got ADD, undiagnosed, unmedicated. I know I have it. So I'm in the meeting yesterday, and I hear a new term. I couldn't wait to get back to the room as quick as I could to call my wife. I said, Mary, I finally found out what I was. I'm a kidult. She goes, you're an idiot. I said. But then today, I sat in the meeting, and I said, oh, I was quick to the trigger. I was close. I am not a kidult. I'm a misfit. And after this, and then the gig that Vince has me doing in the morning, you'll all probably agree. So, I grew up in an Irish-American family. Three of my four grandparents immigrated from Ireland. And my mother's maiden name was O'Hare, Kathleen O'Hare, tough woman, very tough, spoke her mind. Growing up in our house, all we listened to, the only music we ever had in our house was Irish music. Has anyone here ever heard of the Clancy Brothers with Tommy Makem? Thank you, Vince. So that's all I ever listened to my whole childhood. When John introduced me as a judge earlier, he talked about my love of the Grateful Dead. I do love the Grateful Dead. I went to 3 of the 5 shows this summer. And if you grew up in a house where the only music they played was the Clancy Brothers and Tommy Makem, you just might turn to drugs and the Grateful Dead too. Okay. I got a good news, bad news story. And bear with me, this may sound like a downer when I give you the bad news, but it's part of the story and it's not really that bad. 4 years ago, my mother passed away. Very strong Irish woman. That's the bad news, okay? She lived a great life. She was 89 years old. The very good news is she passed away before I had to look her in the eye and tell her my boss was a Scot and the CEO was a friggin' Brit. Because she would have died earlier if I had to tell her that. So, they've been harassing me about doing something. I have 2 kids that work for the company. People are harassing my children. What's he gonna do? And like, both my kids tell me the same story. We look at these people, they go, he's got no talent. We don't know what he's gonna do. He's got nothing. They don't know. So, after I took off on my tour with the Dead, I went to college. And all of a sudden, I got into rugby. And I got into rugby because I went to a party one time, and small school I went to, all Irish-American kids from Boston mostly. I go into the drink up, and they're singing all these Irish tunes. All of a sudden, those Irish tunes sounded pretty cool. Rich Hilton can appreciate that, even though he is a Brit. He used to sing in the drink-ups for the Beacon Hill Rugby Club. So, for my mother and for Lou, who has begged me to do something, I'm going to sing a little Irish ballad. You know, I get a kick out of all these people with their background music. They say, what do you need? What do you need? I need a mic. That's all I need is a mic. So, without much further ado, the first time, really the second time solo, the first time relatively sober, here is the Wild Colonial Boy. It was, now I gotta get it going. There was a wild colonial boy, Jack Duggan was his name. He was born and raised in Ireland in a place called Castle Bay. He was his father's only son, his mother's pride and joy, and dearly did his parents love the wild colonial boy. At the early age of 16 years, Jack left his native home, and to Australia's sunny shores he was inclined to roam. He robbed the rich to help the poor. He shot James McAvoy. A terror to Australia was the wild colonial boy. One morning on the prairie, as Jackie rode along, listening to the mockingbirds sing a cheerful song, out stepped a band of troopers, Kelly, Davis, and Fitzroy. They all set out to capture him, the wild colonial boy. Surrender now, Jack Duggan, for you see it's 3-1. Surrender in the Queen's high name, you are a blundering son. Jack drew 2 pistols from his belt and proudly waved them high. I'll fight, but not surrender, said the wild colonial boy. He fired a shot at Davis that brought him to the ground, and turning round to Kelly, he received a fatal wound. A bullet pierced the proud young heart from the pistol of Fitzroy. And that is how they captured him, the wild colonial boy.